Okay, shall we start? Welcome everybody to the session of Digital Science Russia specifically. We have the full panelist board present. My name is Igor Osipov. I'm the Vice President of Digital Science and Chairman of the Board of Digital Science Russia. And I'd like to give you an overview of the session. Please open the slides, and then we will go into the actual discussion of the cases. My part will be small. Next. Please, next slide, yeah. So this is our agenda for today. There will be two cases from Skoltech University of Science and Technology and from South Federal University. A quick introduction from me, and then a Q&A session for those of you who are interested in what we do. Just a brief overview. Next slide, please. Yeah, the Digital Science Russia team established itself in the country in around 2017. We are based out of Moscow. We have a small and capable team that covers not only the Russian subcontinent, but also a number of neighboring countries. And we're happy to present all the solutions that digital science developed in the last 10 years or so. Among our partners in these years were all the key leading universities, Russian Academy of Sciences, the Office of 5100 Project of University Excellence, the key foundations, including RFBR and Russian Science Foundation, from the start of Russia-Germany Science Partnership, years 2018-2020, we were a very active member of that, together with our partner Merck. And among the customers that we serve already in the country, you will find largest and research-focused universities. You will find the newest flagship technology university and science university, Skoltech, and a variety of universities across the country, from Siberia to the western borders. Next, please. Among the key projects that I wanted to highlight before going into the cases is that as of September 15 this year, together with Russian Foundation for Basic Research, RFBR, and Springer Nature, we've opened a national trial for our flagship product, Dimensions, for about 1,000 universities and institutes of Russian Academy of Sciences. You can see the details of that mega project on our front pages at www.digitalscience.ru. And we're hoping that based on this project, we will be able to provide multiple type data that includes grants, clinical trials, policy documents, data sets, publications, altmetric, and many more to all of you. Please, next slide. Another thing worth mentioning is Digital Science Russia Forum, which we started as early as 2017, and we continue running every year in partnership with the leading institutions and Ministry of Science in Moscow. In those 4 years, and we will be planning to have one this year as well, we've seen hundreds of international speakers and people from all over the country discussing science and technology trends, discussing future of digital environment for research. And we're happy to establish this tradition and move forward together with you in delivering it. Next, please. The 2020 Digital Science Russia Forum will be sometime in November. We will announce this at a bit later stage, and we hope to mark this with the evaluation of our national trial, which is running together with RFBR and Springer Nature. Next, please. At this point, I'm happy to to be closing my introductory part, because I think what's really important is how the research community, university community, is using what we created, what we developed. And I'm giving the floor to my two valued guests, Professor Maria Pukalczyk from Skoltech Institute of Science and Technology, and later on to Professor Vice-Rector Eugene Mukhanov from Southern Federal University. First, Maria, please, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Hope everything is okay with sound and visual presentation. Here today, I will present the small presentation how we use dimensions in our university. Maybe you know that Skoltech is a co-partnership of MIT in Russia. And here we're trying to build very comprehensive and innovative universities with very young professors and master students. And we use dimensions for more than 2 years, just in focus to how to identify research trends, patterns, and relationships based on scientific data. As know everyone that the scientific background is always based on previous research. Scientific processes includes not only publishing but also hypotheses, searching for what was done previously, experiment results, and conclusion. During this scientific process, every scientist always focusing and understands that new ideas always based on data gathering and searching of a lot of information. And this information not only trends, patients, relationships, but also publication, citation, different indices, grants, and metrics, clinical trials, policy documents. And dimensions provide for us all these types of information in one source, one window. Starting the previous year, these solutions available for everyone in Skoltech, and probably these values are not up to date, but at least for previous year, this solution includes many plethora of information about citation of metrics, publications, clinical trials, and grants. Dimensions uses for us for researchers, managers, research administration, and even for assessment of our publication activities. As everybody knows, the crucial benefits of this system is the possibilities to create the CSV files that are very easy use in Python, R, and many different systems. Also, there is some connections with already existing features for visualizing bibliometric resources like WOS view or site space. It's also applicable. Here I will present a short case how we analyze the existing trends in artificial intelligence in biological science in Russia, because from this year the new center based on digital agriculture technologies was approved in Skoltech and now is establishing. Just brief case, Russia in loop of what was done in research area and landscape for the last 5 years in the topic of artificial intelligence and AI in biological science. Briefly, the most publications was done in genetics, chemistry, small part of them in physical science, and really few amount, less than 5% in agriculture domain. Meanwhile, in case of world landscape, the publication in AI in biological science has an increasing trend at the same period of time. For example, only USA have to publish more than 2,900 papers for 5 years, in comparison with Russia less than 140. Also, we analyze the financial trends and sources and reveal that in this sphere and this area, there are increasing amount of money worldwide. So that was one of the reasons why digital agriculture center was established in our universities. By the way, when we are trying to determine where we should invest our money means not only my group research trends, but also the direction of our center and our universities. We also use dimensions for analyzing grant application, successful grant application in different European and USA sources like European Committee, NIH grants, different grants, even in Russia, like Russian Fund of Basic Research and the Russian National Fund. And we revealed the prominent trend to increasing even amount of successful application in AI and machine learning in agriculture. It was very interesting because maybe you have no idea, but in our country, these topics is not presented like broadcast in every universities, and maybe for now, Skoltech is a pioneer universities where research studying and education is focusing in AI and ML for agriculture. And also we analyzed some more precisely what means AI and email in agriculture, what topics is it, and what topics are most interesting probably for us. And we revealed that it's crop modeling and crop forecast. So for now, my research group is developing a new application in AI and ML for open fields, for sustainable purposes, and in greenhouses, everything based on dimensions. There are also some additional analytics, what countries invest more money in these fields, what countries collaborate mostly in scientific landscape in Russia. And just to finalize the above mentioned things, all this data was helped us to reveal the focusing, where we should invest money, how to organize our research activities, and in which topics we should invest our time, money, and students. That's all. Thanks for attention.
Thank you very much, Maria. That was very helpful. And I assume that there might be some questions towards the end of the session. But at this point, I'd like to invite Yevgeny Mukhanov from South Federal to present his case, please. Yevgeny, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I don't know, can you hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
Would someone tell me if you can hear me or not? Because, oh, that's great. Because I really can't hear you right now. I just want to share presentation with you. So,
I can see the presentation. Please go ahead.
So, hello, everyone. My name is Yevgeny Mukhanov, and I'm really glad to be here on this Digital Science Global Showcase. And I'm from Southern Federal University, the largest university in the south of Russia. And here on this event, I want to present the report that I named Reinventing Research Data Repository with Figshare, Experience of Southern Federal University. Yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to start with a small description of my university. As I said before, it's the largest university in the south of Russia, and it's so-called classical university. We are presented in different number of rankings and so on, and we do research in the huge number of research areas. And I say it not just to underline that we are cool. Yes, we are. But I just want to underline that as any classical university, we have a really complicated thing with flow of such data. And I just want to tell you a story about where we start and where we are now with this problem. Probably 8 years ago in 2020, it was the first year when we understood that we need to do something with our research data. And our first solution was, of course, to stand some kind of research data repository, as we named it that year. And under this research data repository, we understood some kind of online folder, probably, where we could storage all our data sets and so on, just to put it there and forget about it. Just in year 2, we were able, with our own IT squad, to develop our own IT solution, hub libsfedo.ru, and some kind of our own repository system at that moment. And it was quite complicated and quite advanced at that moment of time for us, because it had different number of functions and options to upload materials. Right now, we see that during, for example, last 5 years, the number of objects that is uploaded in repository system of Southern Federal University increased tenfold or even more. And in any type of this material, we see this huge increase. We also add different number of dashboards, different number of analytical systems to our own IT repository solution. But we also underline that we had really good thing with our uploading of material. Really were really skillful in asking our professors and researchers to put the data sets in there, to ask our students to put there some kind of the student research work and so on. But we had really great problem with sharing these results with others, both inside university and, most important, outside university. Then we start to think about the data and the flow of data, the research, just to understand which kind of solution we need to work with data exactly in that way that we want to. And we understand that we want some system that will help us to extract data from the research, help us to store it correctly, mark it somehow to make it more easy to find the exact result that you want to find, and probably the most important thing, to show the research, to share it with others, both inside and outside the university. And probably 5 years ago, we started to discuss different kind of solutions with digital science, and we understood that Fixture is probably the best solution that we will be able to find on the market, because it allowed us with huge number of options that we really are looking for. It allowed us to match a user to university department. It allows us to verify uploaded material with versions. It allows us to appoint a reviewer at different department with option to decline or accept the uploaded material. It allowed us to use different number of metadata schemes, DOI, and so on. It allowed us to organize it with different text collections and security levels. And right now, this year, we are glad to say that we are really started the Figshare Sfedo data repository. This is how it looks right now. But I just want to underline that at the beginning of this year, we developed a roadmap of installation of Fixture in our everyday life. And first of all, the first step, of course, was installation of Fixture itself. It's quite a complicated process, and here I want to say a huge thank you to Mark Hanel and his whole wonderful team for assistance and very friendly interface with us. It's very important for us. And number of projects, 4 projects we started, 3 projects we will start this year, and 1 will be started in next year. And right now, I just want to say about 1 project we already implement. It's called Marketplace of Sfedo Intellectual Properties Objects. First of all, I want to underline what the problem is, the problem statement. As a classical university, I said before that we have a huge number of research areas. We produce something about 60 invention patents and 150 other intellectual property objects per year. But the problem is that how mostly in any university in Russia, They are low visible to external users, to industry, and so forth, they are low demanded. We understand that we need some kind of a marketplace where we could put our patents, our intellectual property objects, and to make this area as transparent as it's possible. And Figshare is an ideal solution to this. We organize our patents in Figshare folders with categories, with collections, and it allowed us both to systemize it both in research areas, for example, engineering, technology, chemistry, physics, and unite them by topics, for example, materials, electronics, sensors, pharmaceutical compounds, and so on. We add to each of the patents two kinds of description. First description is really scientific with a lot of detail, and another one is much more shorter, but is much more understandable for a person who is not into science. And it allowed us to make it a little bit more interesting for industry, for example. The most interesting thing that we add is our agreement. In each patent, there is a link for inquiry, where there is a small form for the feedback, where you could put your email, your name, your contact phone, and then just in 1 hour, you will receive a reply from our marketing office. And we will provide within 1 hour every client, every possible client, with a project of agreement, where we will not ask for lump sum royalty. And depending on the patent, it will underline that any obligation that is obligation of royalty rate from 5 up to 10%. It depends on the patent. When this intellectual property objects will provide some benefit for his user. And we could underline right now that it is quite a successful experiment because it was started, for example, a little bit more than 2 weeks ago, a little bit more. 64 patents is placed in this marketplace. It was downloaded, they were downloaded 145 times. And we already have 3 requests to acquire rights for 2 patents. And 2 new contacts, 2 really new potential industrial partners for us. Of course, it was not happened just in one moment. We also spent a number of money and a number of time to promote this marketplace, to put it in different social media, to tell about it in different levels with Russian Academy of Science, with our industry, and so on and so on. But it works. Right now it works. And I can now really say that Figshare is also very useful and very good solution for any university. But it's also a very good, huge solution for development. Right now, it's already allowed our university to reconsider what repository of data research is. It's not only just some kind of a folder where you could put something and wait what will happen. It's kind of solutions that allowed us to introduce new quality standards for description research. It allowed us to introduce new policy for working with intellectual property objects. It allowed us to already introduce new services in our everyday life. And we are excited to be on this quest of finding what also this wonderful solution will help us to do. And I really want to say a huge thank you to Igor Osipov and the whole team of digital science for the opportunity to be on this road with you. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll be happy to be here, and I'm ready to answer any question if I will be able to hear it. Right now, I can't hear anything. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Eugen. This is actually an outstanding presentation in the sense that of the practical application of things that you've described. Perhaps at this point, I will open floor to any questions from the audience, and then I also have 2 from myself. I assume Maria is gone, but I could actually probably help responding Skoltech questions on dimensions because we were closely collaborating in implementation of dimensions in Skoltech. So over to the audience for any questions. Are there any questions? yes, there is, I would say, a philosophical question. It says sciences are mainly based on replicable experimentation. So to what extent we can claim that research outcomes are accurate? Well, I think this is more of a Foucauldian discussion, and we're trying to be a bit more practical in that sense. But Eugene, if you'd like to answer that, I'll put it in the chat. Eugene Leonidovich, would you like to answer the question? Yeah, maybe just to take off the video stream from him, and because the sound is good. Can you hear us? Yeah, I think the platform is a bit challenging for us. Okay. Eugene, can you hear us?
Hello. I hope you can hear me again, because again I have some issues on my side with sound from you guys. So
Okay. Good.
If you let me answer on this wonderful question, of course, hard science really are based on replicable experimentation. It's very based on scientific method. But the whole idea of open science, whole idea of open innovation, is based on the principle that if we will put as much as possible results in open space, if we made as much as possible results open and transparent to us, to experts, to our colleagues, to peers, it will allow us to be much more sure in quality of the results, because we will have much more experts that will be able to take these data sets, to reconstruct it, to see what is inside, and to give us the feedback what's wrong with our method or this data. It's, in my opinion, and I really believe in it, it's really the only solution for science right now. Open science, open innovation, this kind of repository systems that Figshare provides is really a glimpse of the future for us right now, but it will be the necessary level of science for any educational research center in 5 or 10 years. We will not survive without it. The level of trust for research right now is not that high as it was before, right? Because our science is a little bit more closed. We need to do it open. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I also have a question, actually, with regards to the practical side of implementation, because I was very close with the university at the beginning of it, but I was really impressed to see the results. How did you promote your approach to patent data on the repository so you could get the partnerships or requests for partnerships? And then, you know, what were the promotion channels? What did you do? Eugene? Yeah. Technology is not always helping us, I'm afraid. And that's one of those rare cases. Okay, are you back?
Igor, thank you for this question. I just have this in my WhatsApp. Thank you for your colleagues that could transfer it this way, because again, it's from my side, I can't hear you correctly. About promotion. First of all, we use our social media as a place where we could tell about our innovations that we use in our everyday life, and news about Fixture, news about new way of repository of the data research of research data was really well collected by our media, such as papers, such as our local TV channels, and so on. And it allowed us to attract interest from kind of really good players, such as local industry and so on. We also use such, I could tell the truth here, because we use a number of personal contacts, for example, with the Academy of Science. We used number of possibilities to introduce our solutions to the Ministry of Science and Education. Just in some kind of joint events, in Skoltech, for example, we discussed future of Russian science and Russian research. We were able to show the marketplace of intellectual property as already prepared and ready solution to deal with a lot of problems that any university and any research center in Russia is dealing right now. So we use these two channels, social media and personal contacts, with governments and with our colleagues from other centers. And right now it still works. We have a number of another events in our promotion plan for the Fixture repository, because for us it's a really big thing, and really hope to transform our whole innovation area in the university with this instrument, with this tool. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Eugene. That's a very interesting recap, because I'm very happy it's been recorded, because I'd like to show this to a number of universities that approach us with, the very practical questions. How can that be done? So at least now we could give them an idea of how and what the outcome could be. Any other questions from the audience? I think we're pretty comfortable in the way that it went in terms of the content. So maybe we just, unless there are any other questions, we will gradually bring this to a close. And I'd like to give floor to the organizers to say maybe a few words at the end. Over to organizers.
Thank you very much for that, Igor. Thank you to you and to your panel. I've just popped up a link below, the call to action, which is information about the next session. And just a reminder that this session has been recorded, so if anybody wants to watch it afterwards, that can be available. And if anybody needs the slides, please get in touch, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you very much.